Hey guys, welcome back to RIPP Garage. Today we're talking air filters and air filter properties. So, air filters, why are they important? Clearly, because they filter the air going into your engine, and they filter the air going into your supercharger system. But in a supercharger system, you have to be able to have a high-flowing air filter and that filtration. And in our systems, for example, in our Wrangler program, those are also off-road. So how do you make an air filter for off-road that creates enough flow for performance and protection? Well, you engineer it, and that's what we've done here. So in front of me here is a host of little options that we have that we'd like to show you, and then maybe you're not familiar with. When you get your RIPP supercharger system, it comes with an air filter, and this is the air filter you get. Now, after years of using air filters that were already available on the market, we realized that we had to switch to one of our own air filters, and we did that years ago. So this video is long overdue, so I'd like to talk to you a little bit about its features. When you're off-road, the road is bumpy. So one of the things that we went out of our way to design was a stronger flange here, okay? The flange is important because when this is flopping around and the engine temperatures are up because it's, the hood is closed, some of the standard air filters that are on the market will get very soft over here, and we noticed that they would tear, or the clamp would start to eat into them. And that's a bad day on the trail, right? Because if that air filter breaks, you have no point of protection for your supercharger, which is very expensive, and more importantly, the engine, which is even more expensive. So that's one very, very big flaw that we found on the market. But more importantly, we have a few other things here that are supposed to work with our supercharger system, and that's why I'd like to point those out. We went out of our way to use a cotton element, which is washable. We reinforced it with metal on both sides so you can put some high pressure water behind it. We used a soft rubber top or cap here so it doesn't cut into anything metal or wires that might be in front of it, or any options you may have, because let's face it, they're Jeeps, so we have bigger power steering pumps and reservoirs and air pumps, and it gets tight in some spots, and this over here is nice and soft and it won't damage any of those things. And we also have a pre-cut hole for some of your recirculation and your crankcase ventilation, so you don't have to go drilling it with a drill or trying to put it in the front here, which doesn't look very professional. So it's got the RIPP moniker on it, which is pretty cool too, so people know that it's authentic. Now, air filters, beyond having to protect the engine for dust and any sort of grime that comes from the road, they also have to be able to deliver enough air to create that boost that we give out of our supercharger system, right? So we've bench tested these for that CFM. Now, the V3 Vortec that we use in our supercharger system is an 1100 CFM compressor. That's a fairly large compressor for the 3.6 liter Pentastar and some of our other kits as well. So it has to be able to flow enough to create that 9 to 13 pounds of boost, depending on what you're running, and under all conditions. So rest assured, we've done our math on the CFM, and there is enough flow in this air filter where you don't need more media area to deliver that CFM. It's a stainless steel clamp, so it won't rust and look crappy, as you use it over the years, and it is completely washable. I want to talk a little bit about washing it, so that way you have a good understanding of what that's about. A lot of people are under the assumption that you just have to spray it with brake cleaner or some sort of really harsh chemical, and you absolutely do not have to do that. Really, all you're going to use here is well, if you think about it, really, what is it filtering, right? It's dirt, grime from the street, and dust from the trail. So all you're using is a mild soap to break up that a little bit of that grime, and a very soft bristle brush, similar to something you'd use for your hands if they were a little bit too dirty. And then you just give it a light brush and just a little bit of hosing from the top and a little bit of hosing from the inside, and that'll blow all the dirt out. I like to dry mine with a little bit of compressed air, and then I'll let it dry overnight. And a lot of that is my point about how we use our vehicles. And I'm targeting the Wrangler because that's where there's the most dirt, right? The street guys, this represents our LX product, has a much bigger air filter. It's made very much the same, but they're not subjected to the conditions we're subjecting our Wranglers to, especially when we start going to Utah, New Mexico, Arizona, Southern California, where we have that talcum powder type dust, which is very difficult to filter. Our filter is designed for that. So let's slow down a bit and let's explain some of the options you have for those conditions. The very first thing I'd like to talk about is the pre-filter. Pre-filters are important because they'll do exactly that, right? They'll filter before the filter has to do its work. So it's there as an aid. Now, I'm just going to move some stuff around here because I want to talk about the two that you see here, because there's two of them. This one here is a reusable unit, which is designed to be washed and dried and reused with mild, just a mild detergent, get the dirt out of it, squeeze it, let it dry. I often recommend this for people who are not off-roading as much, in an off-road weekend, for example, and then they can come home or take it off, right? So let's say you're driving, 500 miles from someplace, you're going to your off-road destination, you put your dust filter on, you do your off-roading, and then you take it off and your filter's clean for the ride back home. That's the way I view that. Now, often you'll be going off-road for multiple days, like you'll do something like Moab Easter Jeep Safari, right, EJS, and you'll be there the entire week. And I like the disposable units for that because I like to drive with the open element to my destination, and then I like to put the disposable unit on, and then at the end of a couple of days, I take this one off and put a fresh one on, and in those 6 days, you might go through that pack. They're super affordable, and it's way more convenient to do it that way because seriously, in your hotel, you're going to be washing this stuff. You're going to make a mess. Nobody's going to like that. So this is a really smart design. And remember, this was trial by fire because we've been going to Easter Jeep Safari for quite some time. We've been there. The air filters have gotten dirty. We've had to clean them, so we have a lot of experience with that. The last thing here that you're seeing is this little shiny unit over here, which I really like. This has hydrophobic properties, which means it's basically water will beat off it. That's a simple part of it. Online, you'd find this as air filter sock or waterproof sock, for your air filter. It's designed for our air filter. It's a little looser so that it shakes some dust off. So as you accelerate, you'll see, this will be able to pop some of that dust off as well. It's not as good as the sock, either one of them. I'm sorry, the shield here, but this one here is way better for guys who have like open vented hoods or cleaning their cleaning their engine with a hose, something of that nature, or splashing through water a lot. So you're Colorado, different parts of the country play in the mud. The entire eastern seaboard plays in water and mud. So that's a really good, product to have to protect the air filter and then ultimately the supercharger system. And then, yes, they can be combined together without issue, and you can have your dust and water. I can't see that you have to do that, but people do that. Now, it's important to understand where we put our filters in our systems, and that's really why I have this out here. The air will go in here, and in a JK, that's basically the highest hood line. And I think, it really prevents an enormous amount of any damages, and it's away from a lot of the dust that's coming at it by some of those lower mounted supercharger units, which I don't really think I trust. So that's the way we do this. And you could see that if you have a vented hood, some of that water might go right onto your supercharger and right onto your air filter, and this will dissipate a lot of that. Essentially, your radiator and your grill and all that is right over here. A lot of that forward-facing water that might be coming through, that your fan might be kicking up again, creating an enormous amount of protection there for that as well. And equally, for dust travel is very different than water. So that is one of the things when you're traveling through dust, especially when you're following a trail of cars, all that dust is actually coming through your engine compartment. And if you have a vented hood, believe it or not, it's coming through because of the heat rise of the engine. It's coming through that vent, and you're going to get a lot of dust in there. And that's where these come in and really do help. Well, I've talked your ear off. I think you might have learned a lot about air filters today and the way we design our products and try to make sure that we're supporting our clients, whatever type of fun that they're having. If you have any more questions, please put it in the comments, like and subscribe. If you have any questions further than that, you can just contact us at ripmods.com or just give us a call because we pick up the phone. Thanks, guys.